Everyone hear me okay? Good stuff. Okay, we'll start kneeling today. We'll put one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. And just have a moment to close down your eyes and just notice your breath in your body this evening. Notice how you're breathing. Notice the length of the breath. Notice how deeply you're breathing. Notice if the inhale matches the exhale or whether there's a difference between the two. And just take a moment to notice where the breath moves your body. How the breath feels in your body. And how you feel this evening. No judgment, just a word of how you feel this evening and accepting what is. Then gently flutter the eyes open and take the hands to the belly. So starting to deepen the breath as you inhale, really expand the lungs all the way down into the belly. And then as you exhale, let the belly contract. So inhale, really expand into the lungs. Lungs pushing down makes the belly pop out. And then as you exhale, contract that belly in a bit. So inhale to really expand. And then exhale to contract back in a bit. Then move the hands to the ribs. So this time as we inhale, really feel the body out to its sides. So really big inhale into your hands. And then as you exhale, feel the belly and the ribs contract. So inhale, really big breath into your hands. Expanding those ribs out to the side. Then exhale, contract the belly, contract the ribs. Really big inhale into those hands. Expanding those hands out to the side. And then exhale, contract the belly, contract the ribs. Then move the fingers to your collarbones. This time as we inhale, we inhale really deeply into the lungs, allowing the belly to expand, allowing the ribs to come out to the side and filling the chests all the way up to our fingertips. And then as you exhale, feel everything contract slightly as you push the air out of your body. Inhale, expand into the belly, the ribs, the chest, all the way up to your fingertips. And then exhale, everything contracts slightly as you push the air out. Inhaling, expanding the ribs, the chest, the belly. When you think you're full, take another sip of air in. And then exhale, contracting everything, pushing the air out. Excellent. We'll come up to standing. So come forward, tuck the toes, and come all the way up to standing. Working really into the spine this evening. So as much as we'll do some stretches for other parts of the body, we're going to make sure that throughout class we also move the spine in its 6 directions, so including forward bends and backward bends, bending to the left, bending to the right, twisting to the left and twisting to the right. So lots of different movement. Starting with inhaling the arms up above your head. Bring the hands shoulder width apart. And then exhale the shoulders back down the body so you have space around your ears. Then inhale the left arm up towards the ceiling, really stretching down the left side of the body. Exhale the hand back down. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale it down. Inhale left. Exhale down. Inhale right. Exhale down. Good. One more each side. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Then drop your left arm down towards your side. Maybe take a slightly wider stance with your feet to give you more balance. And find your sweet spot on your feet. So where is your weight the best in terms of balancing it between your toes and your heels? And take a nice big inhale, reaching up with the right arm. And then as you exhale, go over towards the left. Reaching the left arm down the leg, keeping the armpit open towards the ceiling, reaching through those fingertips. So we're really expanding the ribs down the right side of the body. Really big inhale into those ribs. And then exhale, see if you can go a little further. One more breath here. Inhale, think about moving. Exhale, pull the core in really, really tightly. Come up to centre and switch the arms. Take a nice big inhale and stand up really tall. Then on the exhale, go over to the other side, allowing the right hand to slip down the leg. Keeping that armpit open towards the ceiling. Really stretching out through the fingertips. Really expanding these ribs down the left side of the body. Really big inhale into those ribs. And then exhale, see if you can reach a little further. Couple more breaths here. Then inhale, think about moving. Exhale, pull that core muscle in and come back up to standing. Excellent. You can stay where you are. I'm just going to turn sideways so we can see what we're going to do next. So this time, we'll bring our hands to heart centre to start with. Really balance down through the feet. So they can be hip width or a little bit wider, whatever is more comfortable. And then look up and open the chest towards the ceiling. Take the hips forward slightly and then see if you can lean back ever so slightly. So a tiny little back bend, looking up towards the ceiling, really engaging the legs, squeezing the bum muscles, pulling the inner thighs towards one another and opening the chest towards the ceiling. Nice big inhale. On the exhale, pull the core tummy muscles in and come up to standing. Excellent. Take the hands down by the sides. Inhale them up above our heads. And then exhale, folding forward, bending the knees a lot to come into a forward fold. So from here, glue your upper body to your thighs. So no space for light or air between your body and your upper thighs. Legs can be as bent as you want. Either hanging ragdoll here and just allow gravity to stretch your spine out. Maybe nodding and shaking the head, releasing any tension in the neck. Or if you want to go a bit deeper, you can hug your arms around your legs. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can stretch your head down towards the feet, keeping your body in contact with the thighs. So you inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, take the hips up towards the ceiling, straightening the legs. Dropping the head. Inhale down. Exhale, take those hips up. Excellent. And everybody inhale, bring the hands towards the mat and just have a moment. Nice big inhale here, nice big exhale, relaxing everything. And then in your next inhale, start to roll the spine all the way back up to the top. pulling the tummy in and letting the head come up last. Excellent. Inhale the arms up above the head. Exhale, twist around towards the right, bringing one arm behind you and one arm in front. Then inhale up, exhale, twist towards the left, trying to keep your hips facing forward if you can. Inhale the arms up, exhale, try to keep those hips forwards. They're always going to want to sneak around, it's very difficult, so keep your hips forwards. Inhale up, exhale the other way. One more each side. Inhale up, exhale twist. Inhale up, exhale twist. Inhale up, exhale hands down by our sides. Excellent. Right, coming all the way down into tabletop. So come down onto your mat on your hands and knees. Wrists slightly forward of the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We'll flow through a few moves to make sure the spine moves in all its directions. So as you inhale, take the sit bones up towards the ceiling, let the belly drop down towards the mat, push the mat away so the shoulders are engaged and look up. Exhale, curl the tailbone under. Arch through the spine, drop the head. Really pull the belly in and arch through the back. Then inhale back to a neutral spine. Then as you exhale, curve the spine into a C shape, looking around towards one hip. Then inhale back through centre and exhale, curl to the other side. Inhale back through centre and take the right arm up towards the ceiling, and then on an exhale thread it through into a twist, coming down onto the shoulder. Inhale here, exhale here. Inhale here, exhale, pull in the core and come back up to tabletop. Then inhale the left arm up and exhale it through into your twist. Inhale here, exhale here, inhale. Then exhale, push it back up to tabletop. Excellent. Take the hips all the way back to the heels into a child's pose. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, really relax the sit bones down towards your heels. And then as you inhale, come up, roll over the knees and come into a hanging cobra. Excellent. A couple of breaths here. Then roll back over the knees and come back to your tabletop, and we'll do that again. So take a nice big inhale as we come into cow, letting the belly come down, sit bones go up, push the ground away, look up. Exhale, curl the tailbone under, arch through the spine, pull the belly in, drop the head. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Exhale, look towards one hip, coming into a C shape. Inhale back to centre. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, come back to centre. Bring the right arm up with your inhale. And then exhale, come down into a twist. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, push back up into your tabletop. Inhale the left arm up. And exhale, thread it through the gap and come into twist. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, push it back up to tabletop. Take the hips back towards the heels into child's pose. Take a nice big inhale deep into the belly. And on the exhale, relax the sit bones down towards the heels. On your next inhale, come up, roll over on the knees and come into a hanging cobra. Letting the hips hang, toes pointing up towards the ceiling, reaching the chest forwards, and take a couple of breaths here. Excellent. Take the hips back, coming into your tabletop for a second, tuck the toes and push up into our first down dog of the evening. Now, look at the fingers, make sure they're spread wide. Look at the wrist creases and make sure they're in line with the top of your mat. Take your chest towards your thighs with your knees nice and bent. And then have a wiggle and a jiggle in your dog wherever you feel like you need to move. Maybe padding one heel down and then the other heel down. Or maybe your legs want to stay bent today and you want to stretch through the shoulders instead. Maybe dropping one shoulder than the other. Move wherever you feel you need to move. Take 3 deep breaths in your down dog, really concentrating on keeping a long spine and arms coming straight out from your shoulders. Excellent. And looking forwards, step or jump the feet behind the wrists. If you're jumping, landing nice and lightly. Inhale into a halfway lift, then exhale, fold, bending the knees. Inhale all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Moving into some flows. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forwards. Step back with the left leg. Either staying on the toes or dropping the heel of the back leg, whatever feels best on your knees. Get strong in your warrior legs. Then inhale up into warrior one. Make sure you can see your toes in front of the front knee. And try and feel that your body is stacked above your hips. Really sinking down into the hips, but also having some strength. So we're not going to the end of our range of motion. We're having a bit of strength in the joints as well. Take a nice big inhale here. Exhale, twist towards the right. Bringing the left hand forward and the right arm back. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, twist towards the right, squeeze those inner thighs together for stability. Inhale up, exhale, twist left. Keep a focus on the strong legs that you have. Inhale up, exhale, twist. Good. Inhale up, exhale, twist. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, float the hands down to frame the front foot. And then step back to plank. Get really strong in your plank, pressing the ground away, stretching the heels down towards the floor, tucking the tailbone under, pulling the core in. Then either do knees, chest, chin, or come down through chaturanga, into your cobra, or your up dog. Engaging those leg muscles, really stretching down the front of the body. Exhale back down, tuck the toes, take the hips back and up into your downward facing dog. And then float the left leg up behind you, bring it forwards and place it between the hands, giving it help if it needs. And then drop the back knee. Good. Inhale up. Bringing the left hand to the left hip. Really ground down to start with. Make sure the back knee is comfortable. Sink the hips down as far as is comfortable. And then reach over towards the left, with the fingertips of the right hand. So we're stretching down the right side of the body, we're stretching into the psoas. If you're comfortable here and you want to lift the back knee, you can, but really squeeze the inner thighs together to give you stability. You can keep the knee on the ground too. Same stretch, whichever way you decide. Couple of breaths here. Excellent. Then coming back up, bringing the hands to frame the front foot, tucking the back toe and lifting the knee, step forwards into a forward fold. Inhale into a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, come all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Excellent stuff. Other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Big bend in those knees. Inhale, halfway lift, long back. Exhale, ground down through the hands, step the right foot back. Take your preferred position with the back foot, either on the toes or dropping the heel down. And then inhale the arms up above the body into your warrior one. Feel that your hips and your ribs are above, your shoulders and your ribs are above your hips. Make sure that you're stretching into the hips, but not going all the way to the end of your range of motions. There's strength there too. Pull the inner thighs towards one another. Nice big inhale. Exhale towards the left. Right arm comes forward, left arm goes back. Inhale up. Exhale the other way. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale up. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale up. Keep squeezing those inner thighs. Exhale to the right. Excellent stuff. Inhale up. Exhale, float the hands down to frame the front foot. And then step that front foot back into your plank. Make that plank strong. Stretch those heels away from you. Engage the legs, engage the core. Tuck the tailbone under. Press the floor away with the shoulders. And then either bring your knees, your chest and your chin to the floor, or come down through chaturanga, keeping the elbows in close to your side. Through into cobra or up dog. Really engaging the legs. Stretching down the front of the body, keeping the neck long. Nice big inhale. And then exhale down to the mat. Tuck the toes. Take your hips back towards your heels. Push up into downward facing dog. Good. Maybe have a wiggle and a jiggle here. Couple of breaths in down dog. Then inhaling the right leg up behind you. Bring it forwards and place it between the hands, giving it a tug if you need. And then drop the back knee down to the mat. Inhale the arms up above your head. Drop the right hand to the right hip. Now get comfortable in your legs first. So we want to feel a stretch down the front of the hip flexor. And we want to be balanced. Then take a nice big inhale, reaching the left arm up. And exhale, stretch those fingers over towards the right. Giving a deep stretch down the left side of the body into the psoas muscle on the left. Pull the inner thighs towards one another to help with stability. You can lift the back knee if you like we did on the other side. Entirely up to you. Couple of breaths here. If you have the back knee lifted, drop it down, come back to centre, inhale the right arm up, then exhale, drop the hands to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, step forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Excellent. Okay, this time, As we inhale, take the arms up above the head and have a little baby back bend, looking towards the ceiling. Then exhale, bend the knees a lot and fold forward over the legs. Take the left leg back, drop the heel down, windmill up into warrior two, looking out over the front fingertips. Flip the front palm. Exhale as you go back. Inhale, come forwards all the way into triangle. So the right fingertips graze the inside of the right ankle. Inhale, come all the way up and over into reverse. And then as you come forward, back into triangle. One more. Inhaling, coming up, really stretching that top arm up towards the ceiling. Then exhale, come forwards into triangle. Really using your core strength here. Inhale, come back up to warrior two. Looking out over the front fingertips as you exhale. Take another big inhale here, really strong warrior pose. Then exhale as you windmill the hands to frame the front foot, coming onto the toes of the back foot. Step back to plank. Either knees, chest, chin to the ground, or chaturanga into cobra or up dog. Excellent. Exhale back down. Tuck the toes. Take the hips back towards the heels. Come all the way up into our downward facing dog. Float the left leg up, bend at the knee, and do 3 circles through that hip. Then take those circles in the other direction for 3. And then open the hips up towards the ceiling, stretching the toes over the top of the back, trying to tickle the back of your right shoulder with your toes. Really big stretch into the deep core muscles here, into the psoas. You can be on your tiptoes of the standing foot if you want, or have that foot with the heel closer to the ground, whatever feels best for your stretch. Try to feel that your shoulders are level and that you haven't let one pop up towards the ceiling. Really stretching those toes over. And then as you look forward, swing that left leg forwards between the hands. Excellent. Drop the knee down towards the floor. And then drop the hips down towards the floor. Coming up onto that front knee. Really stretch down this front hip flexor, taking the shoulders back as far as is comfortable. You can have your hands, leave them on the knee, have them on the hips, put them in reverse prayer, wherever feels good for you here. Really lifting the chest towards the ceiling. Couple more breaths. Then wherever you are, pull the tummy muscles in, come back up, bring the hands down to frame the front foot, lift the back knee and step forwards into our forward fold. Inhale into a halfway lift, exhale fold. Inhale all the way up to the top, exhale hands back to heart center. Excellent. Inhale arms up and do a little back bend, opening the chest towards the ceiling, really squeezing the bum muscles. And then exhale, come forward into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time take the right leg back, drop the heel. Get really strong in the legs and then windmill up to warrior two using your core muscles. Check in with the legs, make sure they're really strong. Really stretch out through the fingertips. Flip the front palm. Inhale back into reverse warrior. And then exhale as you come forward into triangle, keeping the legs as still as possible, using the core strength to move your upper body. Stretching the fingers up and down. Inhale as you come up and back into reverse, looking up to the ceiling, opening the chest. Exhale, coming forwards into triangle, stretching the fingers apart. Either looking down or looking up, whichever feels best on your neck. Inhale, come up into reverse warrior. And then exhale, come forwards into triangle. Really stretching those fingers apart, lengthening down the side of the torso. Pull those tummy muscles in. Inhale, back up to your warrior two. Looking out over the front fingertips as you exhale. Really big inhale, stretch the arms apart. And then exhale, windmill the arms around to frame the front foot, coming onto the toes of the back foot. Step back to plank. Make sure your plank is strong. Push the ground away, engage through the core, make the legs long and strong. Then either bring knees, chest, chin, or come down through chaturanga into your cobra or your upward facing dog. Engage the legs, stretch down the front of the body, long neck. Exhale, come down. Tuck the toes. Take the hips back towards the heels and push up into your downward facing dog. Get yourself comfortable, fingers nice and wide. Press down through the whole palm and the fingertips. Inhale the right leg up behind you, bend at the knee, and 3 circles through the right hip. And then take those circles in the other direction for 3. And then stretch those toes over the back, opening the hip up towards the ceiling, trying to keep the shoulders as level as you can. Stretch those toes over to try and touch the back of the left shoulder. Really stretching into that psoas muscle, either staying on the tiptoes of the standing leg or stretching the heel further down towards the ground, whichever feels good for your practice this evening. And then level out the hips and swing that leg through, grounding down through the foot at the front, coming down onto the knee of the back leg. Either untucking the toe or keeping the toes tucked, whichever feels most comfortable for you. And then coming up, sink the hips down so we get a big stretch down the left psoas and down the left hip flexor. And then take your chest and open it towards the ceiling. Either having your hands on your knees, your hips, or in reverse prayer, whichever feels good for you. Open that chest towards the ceiling. 3 deep breaths here. Then pull the core muscles in, coming up through center, bringing the hands either side of the front foot. Lift the back knee and step forward into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, big bend in the knees. Inhale, all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Excellent stuff. Take the feet as wide as your yoga mat with the toes turned out. And then we'll come down into Malasana, into yogi squat. So come as far as is comfortable for you. If you need to have your hands on your knees and you just want to squat halfway, then that's absolutely fine. If it's within your range of practice and you can come all the way down, hips coming down towards the ground, hands in prayer, and elbows or triceps on the inside of your knees. Try to keep the head up to start with. Really working into those hips. Obviously there's a lot of movement going on here in the ankles, the knees, the hips. You might find that your heels are off the floor. You can always support them with a rolled up mat or some blocks or some cushions. Everybody's Malasana will look slightly different because we all have different proportions. Excellent, couple more breaths here. This is a really good pose for decompressing the spine, especially the lower back. Good. Now keeping in yogi squat, we'll take our left hand to the floor and reach up with our right hand. And then exhale that hand back down and inhale the left arm up. Inhale that hand back down. Exhale up the right. Inhale down. Exhale left. And one more each side. Inhale down. Exhale up the right. Inhale down. Exhale up the left. And then inhale that back down. Good. Bring the bum to the floor and bring the feet in front of you. And then roll all the way down onto our backs, taking the arms down by the sides. We'll start by doing a really big inhale and peeling the spine off the ground, bone by bone, starting with the tailbone, lifting up through the hips, up through the lower back, the middle back, until you're balanced on your shoulders in bridge. Really lift those hips up, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. And then exhale, curl back down through the spine until the tailbone comes down last. Exhale, inhale up, starting with tailbone, up through the lower back, the middle back. Keep lifting till you're up on the shoulders. And then really lift the hips up, squeeze the glutes. And then exhale, roll that spine all the way back down. Last one. Inhale, curl up that tailbone, curl up the middle back, lower back, middle back, up onto the shoulders. This time, if it's within your practice to do the bind, then bring the hands together and roll onto the outsides of your shoulders. Really lifting those hips up as high as they'll go. Keeping the neck nice and long, squeezing the bum muscles, squeezing the inner thighs, lifting those hips. 2 more breaths here. Then inhale, let go of the bind, unroll the shoulders. And on the exhale, slowly curl the spine back down towards the mat, bone by bone by bone. Then hug the knees into the chest. Right hand on right knee, left hand on left knee. And circle through the hips. A few circles one way. And then a few circles the other way. Fabulous. And taking the feet up towards the ceiling, bending the knees in toward the armpits. Reach up and grab onto your feet wherever is available to you. Maybe on the outsides, maybe on the insides, maybe over the tops of the toes, whichever feels most natural. And then relax your head back down to the mat, relax the shoulders. Pull with your hands so that your knees come closer to your armpits. And try to lengthen the spine on the mat as much as you can. Into our happy baby. And have a few breaths here. Excellent. Then let go of the feet. Straighten yourselves up on the mat to start with. Take the arms straight out from the shoulders. And then pressing down through the feet, lift up the hips and shift them over to the right and then drop them back down. Hug the knees into your chest and then roll the knees over towards the left, trying to keep your shoulders as grounded as possible. And then if it feels good on the neck, look out over your right shoulder. And have a few deep breaths in twist. We shift the hips slightly so that when we roll the spine, we're rolling it around its axis rather than ending up with a banana spine, which you would do if you didn't shift the hips. Couple more breaths here. Excellent. On your next inhale, bring the head back to centre. On the exhale, pull the core muscles in and roll the hips back onto the mat, and then put the feet back down. Straighten yourself back out again. Then take a nice big inhale, lift up the hips and scoot them over to the left and drop them back down. Then hug the knees in towards your chest and roll the knees over towards the right. This time looking out over your left shoulder. Trying to ground down through the shoulders as much as possible. Take some really deep breaths whilst we're laid here in this posture. Really sending the breath deep down into the belly and trying to relax everything onto the mat as you exhale. On your next inhale, bring the head back to centre. On the exhale, pull the core tummy muscles in and roll the hips back down onto the mat. Bring the feet down to the mat. Straighten yourself back up and bring your arms back down by the sides. Okay, so the next pose is shoulder stand. So if you don't want to do shoulder stand for any reason, you can do legs up the wall. Literally just relaxing in legs up the wall is a really good restorative pose. So you can either do this without a wall, or you can shuffle yourself so that your legs are against a wall so that you can completely relax. And you can either do this with your legs straight up and feet together, or you can do that with your legs in straddle. It's entirely up to you, but a really good restorative pose for the lower back. If you want to do shoulder stand, the most important thing is to keep your head and your neck still. Whenever you move in shoulder stand, the neck and the head always stay still. To start with, all you do is roll your knees in towards the chest, and as you come up, place your hands on your lower back. So we start off with the knees nice and bent. If you want to take it further, you can either go straight into plough, if you'd like to do that today, keeping the hands supporting the lower back. You can really ground down through the toes or extend the hands down towards the mat. And if you want to come up into full shoulder stand, then really support your back. Bring the knees in and then take them up and then straighten out the legs. Really pull the core in tight. Stretch those toes up towards the ceiling. Maybe externally rotate the legs slightly so that they give you a really, really strong shoulder stand. Point the toes, lifting up through the toes. Really get those toes up towards the ceiling. And then bend those knees. Bring the knees back towards the forehead. If you're in plough, bend the knees so that we're all in the same position. And then using your hands as support, roll your back down towards the mat. Straightening the legs out when you feel it's right to do so. Excellent, well done guys. Right, from here we roll over onto our bellies for a little spine strengthening session. little spine strengthening series. So legs out nice and long. Really relax the legs onto the mat. Toes untucked. Bring your forehead down towards the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders. To start with, all we do is roll up the top part of our back, coming into a low cobra. Really engage the tummy muscles. Slide the shoulder blades down the back to give you a nice long neck. Really squeeze the tummy muscles and the back muscles, and then bring your hands off of the floor, trying to maintain the height of your cobra as you do so. Keep breathing. 2 more breaths here. Then bring your hands in front of you, one hand on top of the other, and then place your forehead on top of the palms in crocodile pose, and have a couple of restorative breaths. Lifting your head up, take your hands out to cactus arms. This time engage through the legs by really pressing down through the toes. If the legs are strong, your knees should pop up off the floor. So press down through the toes, make the legs strong, maybe tuck the tailbone under slightly, engage all the muscles of the back, and then peel your upper body and your arms off the floor. Really engaging through all the back muscles, engaging through the tummy muscles, pressing those toes into the mat. Lift up a little bit higher, keep breathing, keep everything squeezing in, keep the arm muscles engaged. Tight body is a light body. Take another breath, lift up a little higher, and then come back down, one hand on top of the other, forehead on top, and have a few breaths in crocodile pose. Then lifting the head up, bringing your hands around behind your back and interlacing the fingers, stretching the arms away from you as far as is possible. Take a nice big inhale, pull all of the core muscles in, all the muscles around the back, then lift up the feet and stretch your fingers back towards your toes. Nice big inhale here, really engage everything, make it really tight. Keep breathing, keep squeezing everything together, keep reaching those fingers back towards your toes, really press the toes away, the legs are engaged, lift a little higher, squeeze a little bit more, take another breath, and then exhale, relax, come down, one hand on top of the other, forehead on the backs of your palms, and take some breaths in crocodile pose. This time, lifting the head, taking the arms straight out in front of you, legs straight out behind you. Take a nice big inhale, engage the muscles of your arms and your legs, and on an exhale, lift all 4 limbs up off the mat, really squeezing through the core, but stretching the fingertips away, stretching the toes away, making everything really, really long. Squeeze everything in along the midline of the body. Keep breathing. Lift a little higher, lift a little higher. Squeeze it all in once more. And then exhale, come down towards the mat. One hand on top of the other. Forehead on top of the palms. And have a few breaths in crocodile pose. Then taking the arms out again, taking the legs out. This time, leave the forehead on the mat. Lift the left arm and the right leg. Really squeeze everything in and then stretch the fingers and the toes away from each other. 3 deep breaths here. Then drop those back down and move to the other side. Right arm, left leg. Stretch out through the fingertips, out through the toes. 3 deep breaths on this side. Then drop the limbs down. Bring the hands on top of one another. Head on top of the palm, back of the palm. 3 deep breaths in crocodile pose. Lifting the head. Bring the left arm in front of you so the elbow and the forearm is parallel to the end of the mat. Bend up the right leg and reach around to grab the right foot. If you can't quite reach it, then you can just reach in a general direction. If you can reach your foot, kick back first and then lift the knee up towards the ceiling, pointing the toes if you can. Really kicking up and back. A couple of breaths here. Then release the knee down, release the foot. Come back, one hand on top of the other, forehead on the backs of your palms, 2 deep breaths. Then lifting up the head, this time bring the right forearm parallel to the end of the mat and reach around with your left arm, bending the left foot up, reaching towards it. If you can't quite reach, then just stretch in that direction. Then kick the foot back to get a back bend and then lift the knee up off the floor. Lift as high as you can, engage the muscles, pull the inner thighs towards one another, point the toes, pull the tummy muscles in. 3 deep breaths. And release the leg. Bring the hands back around, one hand on top of the other, forehead on top. 3 deep breaths in crocodile pose. Last one in this spine strengthening series. So this time, bend both knees up. If you can grab hold of your feet, fabulous. Grab hold of your feet from the outsides. If you can't reach your feet, then reach your hands back towards your feet, and as we lift up, lift the knees up and stretch back with your fingers. If you can reach your feet, then start by kicking back with your feet to get a back bend, so the knees stay down on the mat. Once you can't kick any further, then you can raise the knees up and kick towards the ceiling. If you feel yourself fall forwards onto the soft part of your belly, that's great. Kick up a little bit more, look up. Keep breathing, try and squeeze the knees towards one another, kick up, look up, everything up. Exhale, come down. One hand on top of the other, forehead on the back of your palms, 3 deep breaths. And lifting your head and bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and tucking your toes at the back. Very gently and slowly, push yourself up and come back into a child's pose, maybe a wide knee child's pose. Very gently and slowly, let the hips come down towards the heels, head comes down towards the mat, and relax everything down. There's lots of back bends in the strengthening series, so just have a few breaths here, letting the spine elongate. And you can either stay here for our final savasana, or if you'd rather be on your back, then move yourself around and come down into savasana. Letting the legs be long with the feet falling open, arms down by your sides, palms up, shoulders tucked underneath the body, and the lower back really comfortable. Any pain in the lower back whatsoever, bring the feet to the mat and let the knees roll in. Otherwise, you can keep those legs out long. And then just enjoy the weight of your mat, or the weight of your body even, pressing into the mat. Let the heels be heavy, pressing into the mat. Backs of the calves, heavy, pressing into the mat. The upper legs, heavy, supported by the mat. The glutes and the back of the pelvis, really heavy and relaxed, pressing into the mat. Maybe there's some space for light and air around your lower back. And then your middle back is heavy and relaxed, pressing into the mat. The upper back and your shoulders completely relaxed and heavy, sinking into the mat. Letting gravity press everything into the mat. If you're in child's pose, feel the gravity on the back of your tailbone as your hips open and you relax further towards the mat. The hands, forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, heavy and relaxed. And the head, heavy and relaxed, pressing into the mat, completely supported. Take 10 deep breaths here. Then bring the awareness back to the body. Letting the breath come and go as it pleases. Just notice the length of the breath, the depth of the breath, and how the breath moves the body. a quick check-in with how you are feeling and whether that's changed from the beginning of class. Not to make a judgment, just to accept what is being felt. Then when you're ready, start to move your body. Maybe just a small movement at first, maybe something bigger. Whichever way your body wants to move, move it. And then when you're ready, come up into a seated position and your practice for this evening is done. Well done. Thank you for joining me on the mat this evening. There's no classes next week, but I hope to see you on your mat again soon. And there's lots of videos on the YouTube channel should you be at a loose end and looking to do some exercise next week.